Scott Holliday here, and welcome back to Plus 2 Wrestling. Before we get started, I wanted to shout out one of my commenters, because last week on the show, I read off predictions of what people thought would never happen in the world of professional wrestling that were made back in 2014. So after 10 years, I went and looked to see which of those things actually did occur. And one of the things we talked about was someone predicted that there would never be an openly gay world champion. And I said that hasn't happened yet. However, one of my commenters, John Doherty, brought up the fact that Sonya Deville has won the Women's World Tag Team Championships. Now, when this prediction was made, I don't think they were keeping in mind the Women's Tag Team Championships, especially since they didn't exist yet. I think the intent of that prediction is the main title, the world title, will never be held by an openly gay person. I personally think that there's a good chance that that will change in the not too distant future, but I want to shout out John for bringing that to my attention, because I did forget Sonya Deville has held a world champion, even if it was the Women's Tag World Championship. And now, let's plug in. As we get closer and closer to WrestleMania in Philadelphia, the plug-in section's going to get bigger and bigger because I'm going to have more and more to talk about. So I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible because there's a lot going on, starting with, and beautiful, Havre de Grace, Maryland State Theater. Check out CZW's Limelight 24. There we will finally see it for the CZW World Heavyweight Championship. Rich Swann takes on the Prince of Camden, Deshaun Pratt. Deshaun Pratt has been waiting for this match a long time. Will he leave as CZW champion? Check it out March 3rd in Havre de Grace. And then March 9th, it is the biggest wrestling show in the history of Maryland independent wrestling. It is Don't Blink at the Power Plant Live in Baltimore, Maryland. There you will see Jada Stone take on Mika of Vendetta. Plus, the CZW World Tag Team Championships are on the line as the Slime Balls get one more crack at milk chocolate. But this time, it's TLC. Tables, ladders, and chairs. You're not going to want to miss this one. If you want to head to Don't Blink or Limelight, head to czwrestling.com. March 23rd at 1:30 p.m., it is the return of Cosplay Pro Wrestling. Yes, see all your favorite cosplay pro wrestlers at 827 Jersey Avenue in Gloucester City, New Jersey. This is a fundraiser for Extra Life, so tickets are just a $10 donation. And in our main event, we will have Mortal Kombat's Liu Kang versus Ken Masters. Will Ken fall to the primal fear of Liu Kang? Find out on the 23rd. And let's finally get into WrestleMania week, because Wednesday, April 3rd, Labor of Love and Sean Henderson presents WrestleJohn. Yes, join us at Addict Brewing Company. That's 137 Berkeley Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where we will finally crown the Labor of Love citywide champion as Weber Hatfield takes on the legendary Cheeseburger. Plus, see Paul London go one-on-one with Speedball Mike Bailey. Plus, in trios action, this warms my heart, the Cyberhawks will be taking on the Colony. Yes, birds versus ants, the way it should be. And that is just day one, because the next day, Thursday, August 4th, same location, Attic Brewing Company, WrestleJohn continues with Sean Henderson and Labor of Love presents Euphoria. Euphoria will feature Daniel McCabe taking on Edith Surreal. MAO takes on Matt Makowski, my number one pick for the breakout star in the independent wrestling scene. And Sean Henderson himself will take on Colin Delaney. It's going to be a fantastic time, and it's all followed up with a birthday party for Big Dan Champion. Big Dan! Big Dan! It's going to be fantastic. And during that party, so I hear, cannot be confirmed, there will be a special party death match between Ultra Mantis Black and Jimmy Lloyd. Shh. You're going to want to see these shows. They're going to be fantastic. Information for these shows can be found in the links below. And if you want to get caught up on Labor of Love before these shows, head on over to High Tension Wrestling's YouTube channel, where you can see episodes of Labor of Love's citywide special leading up to these big events. Today on the Soapbox, I was looking over some of my past videos and I talked about the 5 things wrestlers need to stop doing and the 5 moves that I think wrestlers should do more. But that was all in one-on-one situations. I left out all those wonderful tag teams. So let's rip them apart too. Here are 5 things that need to stop happening in tag team matches. Number 1, incorrect tags. There's a match that I love that is probably forgotten to time, but it took place on Monday Night Raw. It is the team of The Revival versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. Do you remember when they were a tag team? They were. That was a thing that happened. But what's special about this match is kind of as a punishment, they made Kurt Hawkins the special guest referee. This is when he was on a losing streak, and despite having lost 200-some matches in a row, Kurt Hawkins knew the rules. He disallowed a tag that took place without the partner holding on to the tag rope. He also disallowed another tag when the partner was not having one foot flat against the canvas. Did you know those were rules? Because they are. You must be holding the tag rope and have one foot on the canvas to make a legal tag. This is to prevent someone from moving too far away from the post to get a little bit more of an advantage, or standing on, say, the bottom rope so you can reach over the top and get a few more inches to make the connection and make the tag. People forget this. There's so many times where people aren't holding the tag ropes, or they're standing on the turnbuckles and leaning over. That's not how tag team wrestling works. And I'm not saying that we need to be in a situation where the referee is commonly calling that out. Like, get that tag rope in your hand. No, no, no. Get that foot on the mat. No, no, no. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm saying that people in tag team matches should be aware that those are the rules and adhere to them. Because every time a referee allows a tag that shouldn't be a legal tag, it hurts the credibility of the referee. And a big part of tag team wrestling is hurting the credibility of the referee. The heel team doing stuff behind the referee's back and getting away with things while the baby faces are getting beat down and need to overcome. If you hurt the ref's reputation too much, though, the heat goes away from the tag teams and to the referee who keeps screwing up. So there's no need to add additional debt to that referee by forgetting to hold the tag rope. Just please do your tags correctly, because that brings me to my next point. Number 2, doing both behind the ref tag spots. So let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a tag team wrestling match where the babyface the ring's been cut in half and he just can't seem to get across the ring to make that tag? The heels, they've made 6-7 tags at this point. Fresh man's always in the ring just beating down that babyface who just needs to make a tag. And then there's a moment where it's so close. Both men are down and the babyface is reaching and reaching and reaching. And then just before the tag is made, maybe the manager of the heels jumps up on the apron and the referee's attention turns to them just as the tag is made and the fresh man is in and he's a house of fire, taking everybody out. But then the ref grabs him and says, "No, you didn't get tagged." go back to your corner. And of course he says, we made the tag. And the ref says, I didn't see it. Go back there. This is a common spot. Basically the idea of giving the illusion that the babyface have regained control and taking it away from the audience because the ref didn't see it. This is a great spot. It creates a lot of emotion and stakes into the match, but it does something very important. It tells the audience that tags only count if the ref sees it. And then, right around this time, the ref is having an argument with this tag partner who's so desperate to get into the ring, and the heels just kind of clap. Like one of the heels claps, and they make a switch. And the ref turns around and goes, did you make a tag? Like, yeah, we made a tag. And the ref goes, oh yeah, I heard it. You just established that if you don't see it, it doesn't count. And yet, you're letting the heels get away with that exact thing because you didn't see it. Both of them are effective spots. You have taking something away when the babyfaces actually are playing by the rules, but the ref, being a stickler, didn't see it and is going to take it away. And then you have the heels breaking the rules, but doing so in a convincing manner that the ref believes it. But both can't be true. Either the ref only allows tags when he sees it, or the ref believes, because he heard it but didn't see it, that a tag was made. If you do both, you destroy the credibility of that referee. And again, the crowd will turn on the ref, not the heels. It is one of the most frustrating things in the world for me to call as a commentator. Because I have to explain to the audience why the ref is doing these things. So I have to say, ref didn't see it. And then moments later going, the ref heard it, but didn't see it. It hurts everyone involved. And it just needs to stop happening. You can do one of them. It's fine to do that clap spot as long as you don't do the other spot. It's one or the other. Make what that referee's quirk is. Does he have to see it or can he just hear it? What that ref does. And keep it consistent throughout the match. Number 3, standing on the apron. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive because I just said how important it is to have your feet flat on the canvas while making a legal tag. But I'm talking about when it's more than a 2-on-2 contest. If you're having a 6-man tag, an 8-man tag, a 12-man tag. Often, I as a commentator have always learned that you call the monitor. You know, you want to say what the cameras are seeing because the people at home are watching that and you want to be commenting on what they're seeing. But in independent wrestling, it is very, 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 very common that I don't have a monitor. And I'm just watching the ring the way a fan in the arena does, just seeing what I can see and hoping that the camera is seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. But when you have many people in a match, most of what I'm seeing are the asses of people not in the match yet. It drives me absolutely insane when a ring post is just littered with bodies that are acting as a wall that I cannot see. Back in my referee days, I remember we were doing a War Games match. We didn't have a cage because we were a poor indie, but we wanted to do a War Games match. So what we ended up doing was it was 5-on-5, 2 people started, and the 4 tag team partners for each competitor were zip tied to the ring. And then every 2 minutes, I would cut someone free so that they could be tagged into the match. Which meant, for the first couple minutes, there were 8 bodies all blocking what people could see. I think it is very important that when you have these multi-man matches, and a lot of companies are good at this, they usually start with a big melee, and then it breaks down, and then order is kind of resumed and it turns back into a one-on-one contest with tags in and out. But because of that cluster that takes place in the beginning, 6 or 7 people have the reason to be selling rather than being up and reaching for the tag. Having those reasons to watch from underneath the bottom rope rather than standing up and being in the way are very important to the enjoyment of the fans at ringside. It's a small thing that I think a lot of people miss because they're not thinking about that, because when you watch these large tag team matches on TV, the cameras are shooting around all the partners that are in the way. It's very important in independent wrestling to have a creative way to explain why all those partners are not currently standing and reaching for a tag, because people need to see what's happening. Number 4, the double hip toss. The double hip toss is the worst double team maneuver in the history of professional wrestling. And double team maneuvers are great. A lot of the best moves are double team maneuvers because they're more rare. It's not often in every match that you get to see 2 people attacking one person at the same time. And that's why we have so many great double team moves. We have the 3D, the big rig, the heart attack, the devastation device, cut the cheese, all fantastic tag team maneuvers. But you know what's not a fantastic tag team maneuver? The double hip toss, where 2 people perform a hip toss on the same person. I don't know how the second person adds to the impact in any way. I don't understand why it's supposed to hurt more because 2 people are doing it. It's just not impressive. On top of that, it's very dangerous. Because when you do a hip toss, you want to take your right arm and you put it under their left arm. And you kind of use your own momentum or their own momentum to kind of take it over your hip toss. To do a double hip toss, someone has to do it backwards. They have to take their left arm, put it under their right arm, flip them over at the same time as someone doing it correctly. So it's very easy to get tangled up. And now that this other person is involved, you kind of take away the ability of the person receiving the move to take their own bump. So it's very easy to get tangled, not get all the way over, and land on your head. This is such a dangerous maneuver that I've seen go wrong many, many times for a move that has almost no payoff. Like, no one's super excited to see generic tag team maneuver number 1 from No Mercy. No one cares about the double hip toss, so don't do it. I'd much rather see a double clothesline. Number 5, not understanding lucha tags. So, a lot of you might know me as a former Chikara commentator, and it is my job in Chikara to very, very often repeat what the rules to lucha tag are. It's very simple. Rolling out to the floor and having your feet touch the ground is as good as a hand-to-hand tag. So yes, you could tag your opponent, but you could also try to escape the ring to make a legal tag. This also happens when someone's thrown over the top rope and lands on the ground. Now their partner can enter the ring and be legal. It allows for a better flow and always keeps the action in the ring. For some reason, because I've called so much lucha, I find myself in other companies where they've decided to do lucha rules. And the person sitting next to me will say, lucha rules, no tags needed. And then I have to strangle them because I spent so much of my broadcast career explaining lucha tags that to have them sit next to me and get it so wrong infuriates me. It's very simple. No tag? That's tornado. But lucha tag means hand-to-hand tag or exiting the ring. It's that simple. Please stop getting it wrong. Please stop getting it wrong. to everyone out there who's ever had to call a tag team with lucha tag rules, you gotta leave the ring or hand-to-hand tag. Tags, still very, very important. And that's it. That's 5 things that need to stop happening in the world of tag team wrestling. What did I miss? What bothers you about tag team wrestling? Leave that in the comments down below. And while you're down there, why don't you tag that subscribe button? It's not lucha, so if you leave, it won't count as subscribing. You have to make a physical tag with the subscribe button. And I hope you have a great day.